Alright folks, Vitek here from Wani. With us today we have one and only riff master, Mr. Jon Schaffer of ICED. How are you doing today?
Good, man. Just flew into London a few hours ago and immediately on the media blitz here, but all good.
Perfect. Now, before we talk about the album, we would just dwell into the two songs that have been released so far, Seven-Headed Whore and Raven Wing. How has the response been so far, now that you dropped the track one evening after another?
I mean, really strong, I think. I guess if I look at the overall reactions have been very positive. I don't really know how to determine what is successful in terms of like the amount of views or whatever on YouTube. I think that, they're around 130,000 or something like that. So I guess the label seems happy, but it's not my world. I mean, I'm just looking at the reaction of our fans on our Facebook page and stuff, and everybody's, well, 99% of the people are very happy with it. So.
And I had this honor of listening to the album, and what a fabulous one it is, and extremely diverse ICED record I've heard in a long time.
I would agree with that. I think we've always had a lot of dynamics on the records. It's always been a thing. It's just it's an ICED thing to kick them in the balls and then take them on a ballad and on the mid-tempo journeys and kind of everything. But I feel like from the what it is probably is it's the nature of the subject matter, because these songs are not a concept. The album's not a concept. There's not a theme. There are 10 individual tracks that stand on their own, and I actually think it's been probably since the first album that we've had a record like that. So I'm trying to remember if there was another one. Most of them were themes or concepts in some way of another, and so I don't know why it just happened the way that it did, and feels very natural.
Absolutely, like I said, there's that with the Incorruptible, the name, you put for this record. The songs range from like more emotional and slow, such as The Wheel, to the classic power thrash, fast and aggressive anthems like Seven-Headed Whore. So it kind of feels like a journey through ICED's entire catalog. Like sort of each song was picked up from a different previous album, in a sense that it came out naturally. When it comes to songwriting process, or was it something that you wanted to gift your fans, that here you go, this is ICED at its diverse best?
Man, I just thought the same thing in my last interview. I'm like, the funny thing is you could take, it's almost like from a musical standpoint and even from a lyrical standpoint, you could take one of these songs from the catalog of the band and it would kind of fit in through the timeline. So I guess, the title Incorruptible really has to do with the fact that the vision of ICED, regardless of what has stood in my path as the leader of the band or our path as a band, has remained incorruptible. It's not for sale to the extent that it would, there isn't an amount of money out there that is going to make me change the direction of the band or, and it's not even, there's many other ways to be corrupted besides money. And so it's just it's a complete dedication to the brand that I started, all those years ago. And now we're like 32 years into this, and 27 as being a signed band. So it's a long time, man.
As a leader of the band, do you feel you've reached or you've touched the pinnacle of creativity with Incorruptible?
I don't know. I'm very happy with the record. I've been very happy and proud of pretty much all of our records. So I think they're all a direct, honest reflection of whatever's going on at the time. And is it the pinnacle, man? Dude, that's not even up for me to decide. It's up to the fans. They decide what the classic records are, not me. For me, they're all special to me, because I created them. It's like when you have children, you're not going to say necessarily that you love this child better than the other, even though you might.
I get that.
It's just kind of it's hard for me to I can't look at it with the same eyes that a fan does, because I'm coming at it from a completely different perspective. But I'm very proud of this record, and I knew early on in the songwriting that we were on our way to making a classic, and at least in my mind, you know. If everybody else feels that way, time will tell.
Absolutely. How much has the ICED headquarters inspired you for this record? Because I remember having one of my team members having a chat with you in London, and we were discussing about how, you know, having your own headquarter where you had to write and record, and obviously, you know, it was Judas Goes, then it was moved to Incorruptible. So how much has this own place where you guys are writing and recording has inspired you to maybe motivate a little more than the regular feeling inside?
Influence, I mean, certainly on the sound. I'm very, very happy with the way the studio sounds, and I mean, there's a few things that I can do in the control room to tweak it and dial it in even more, and I will before the next project happens. But I think it was really more everything the band had gone through recently, and having a break, you know, and being able to recharge the batteries and all of that was even more important than having the headquarters building. The headquarters building it's killer because it is another step in the direction for, you know, independence, which is why I named it Independence Hall. And so I mean it's going that way because it gives us a place to be able to function pretty much fully as for you know what the operation requires. We can do it all there, and that's a big thing, I think, for us to have at this stage. And with the way the music business is changing so rapidly, you know, for us to become more and more independent is obviously a strength, not a weakness. And that's what our ultimate goal is, you know, as the old model collapses and things change. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, speaking of the songwriting process, the majority of the songs are inspired by different stories. You know, like you said, there are 10 different things happening here. You know, be it Declare the Way, or even The Great Heathen Army, which tells the story of the Ragnar Lothbrok's sons. Black Flag is more like a pirate themed, and obviously the instrumental Ghost Dance, you know, which kind of illustrates the Native American religious movement. So, you know, can you tell us about the story and drive to write those tracks? And, you know, why you decided to pick up different themes from the same album?
You know, man, it just all happened very naturally. You know, the Viking and pirate thing is sort of we call ourselves the Virates, me and Stu, and, you know, the guys and Luke and Troy's a Virate, and then a few of our key crew guys, and it's just sort of a thing for our brotherhood. You know, that we're hardcore, have been through a lot of shit together out on the road, and so that started off as an inner circle kind of a thing, and it grew from there. And then, but it's also because we have a love of the history of those particular periods. And so, you know, when I wrote to Stu, or actually I was talking to him on the phone and said, "Hey man, you got to hit me with some ideas where you want to take things from." Lyrically for the songs that you're going to write, because, you know, when I'm in the process, what my job is to come up with the themes of the songs. It doesn't necessarily have to be a final title or anything, but to at least know where are we headed with this, and if it inspires me. So when Stu said, you know, Great Heathen Army, and told me what he wanted to go lyrically, that was like, okay, I'm feeling that. So I wrote the intro and started to work on the musical arrangement, and I knew really early on that was going to be the first song of the album. And then Stu came and finished up the lyrics and the vocal melodies and everything, and we, you know, then we had the tune finished. But it was like one of those things where, for me, I want to be able to paint the landscape, the soundscape, as it were, before there's any lyrics or vocal melodies on there. Ideally, I want the listener to be able to close their eyes and imagine and feel that that's the energy that I'm trying to channel based on whatever it might be. So in Ghost Dance, it's obviously a Native American vibe going on there, and in Clear the Way, it's the Irish Brigade, and I think you can hear that in the music, and that's, you know, you could hear that even before there was any vocal parts there. So that's always my goal when we're talking about specific things, you know, like especially when you get into the historical side of the songs, where you know there are kind of certain chord progressions that make you feel a certain way. And obviously we don't have that in the Great Heathen Army, although I think the beginning of it's pretty cool and has kind of a theatrical Viking feel to it, but we don't really know what they would have been jamming to back then, you know. So You know, but that's just I'm using my imagination, man, and trying to channel the energy, and that's just the way we do it, dude.
Absolutely.
It's
Now
natural.
you and Stu have have become more comfortable, and Stu kind of seems more loose on this album as compared to previous ones, especially in the slow and mid-range passages. Does this have anything to do with the experience of working with each other as you know, as friends, as brothers, and by and knowing his range, you can choose a different set of riffs and atmosphere to fit his vocals, or was it like, he can manage his own style?
It doesn't work. It really doesn't work like that. I mean, the riffs are the riffs, and the arrangement. I mean, there's way more to songwriting than a riff. You know, it's actually quite a lot of work. And before Stu even comes into it, but Wood is, I think he's done an amazing job on everything we've done together. So I don't hear it the way some people do. Does he feel more confident? You'd have to ask Stu that, but I guess probably because this is the third time we've been in the studio where I've been producing his vocal. He's certainly very comfortable with me doing it. Trust me implicitly. And, I mean, we do things very naturally. It's all about what the song requires. I have never had the words out of my mouth in a pre-production or songwriting session or in master tracking sound like Matt here, sound like Tim here. Never.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense, right? That won't make sense.
No, dude. But I mean, that's what people say. Oh, Jon won't let him be himself. What are you talking about? He's totally himself. The songs are what dictate what the atmosphere, the vocal's going to do. I mean, you don't have, if you're going to do some kind of a mid-tempo Raven Wing type of song, well, you're not going to do some fucking crushing death metal vocal over it. It doesn't make any sense. That would be stupid. So, the music is the music and the theme of where the song is going always dictates the delivery of the vocal and what kind of atmosphere you're going for. And do we experiment sometimes? Like sometimes when it's my songs that I'm doing, like the lyrics and vocal melodies for, then I know exactly what I want. When it's one we're collaborating on, then that changes too, and we experiment. And sometimes Stu knows exactly what he wants, and we go with that. So it's, it depends on what track we're working on. But yeah, the song dictates all that stuff, man.
Absolutely. That's really cool to hear. And Jake, it's the first album with him, and he's a virtuous and a technical guitarist. And I've seen him with White Wizard and even in the current project with The Fall. I kind of felt that he injected some of his unique way of playing on selected parts of Incorruptible, mainly in the solos. So, what was his role in the lead guitar construction of this album?
Well, he came into it really late, so in terms of like any songwriting or arranging credits, that was already done. But Jake his solos are fantastic, and what I love about his playing is that he's got all the shredder stuff, but he also can play like a grown man. I mean, he can do the Gilmore type thing. And in fact, on Raven Wing, the mellow part of the guitar solo, I had him play my Stratocaster through one of my Class A 30-watt Class A heads, and which is like your traditional Gilmore-like sound, and he just nailed it, man. So it's a pleasure, and from a personal standpoint, he really fits in with us. I mean, his personality is every bit as dark and twisted as Troy. He's just so that's always fun for us because he gets our sense of humor and he fits in with us really well. I mean, we did one tour together so far and had a blast, and I'm just very, very happy with what Jake's brought to the table, and I look forward to the next record where he's going to be able to contribute to the songwriting because he's got some really good original ideas, and that's going to be fun. So he just came into it really late. Troy knew when we were pretty far into the project that he was just not going to be able to commit to the kind of touring that we're going to do, and with what's going on with his family and everything. So it just happened the way it happened. And Troy's always going to be a brother of ours. There's no question about that. He was my bro long before he was in the band, and he always will be. But Jake is he's working in and feeling right at home here. So.
Absolutely, man. That's really good to hear. And ICED is a well-oiled machine. It's a touring machine. You guys literally go everywhere, and obviously you took some rest with the surgery. So, Headbangers Ball tour over. What next when it comes to Incorruptible World Tour?
Well, the very next plan is going to be some festivals in Europe, and then we have looks like October is going to be North America. That's what we're working on the schedule now, and then I am expecting like a January time frame to tour Europe. So there's but we're not going to be doing. I don't expect to be doing the extensive touring that we did on the last two album cycles, because that was so brutal on us, and it's going to be, that was a lot of former management decisions, and we're kind of changing that. We're going to make it about the quality, not the quantity, and and besides that, I'm also working on the Demons and Wizards stuff already. Hansi and I have started that, and I want to be able to do that in the holes and of the schedule this summer. So I mean, there's a lot of things going on, but we are going to play, don't get me wrong, but it's not going to be like a ridiculous 350 shows in a 3-year period or something. We're going to do it a little bit differently this time, because all that did was really burn us out to a point where it was not healthy.
I understand. That's really good. So would you plan to kind of write and finish the other record sometime this year?
No, man, it's going to take some time. He did work up 2 songs that I sent him of vocal melodies and cadences, and I still have to fly him into the sessions and move him around and experiment with them and stuff and see how it's feeling. But we're gonna take our time. But at least now we're actually doing it. So it'll probably be. I would hope that next year we'll have it out. I hope that we can get the songwriting all dialed in this calendar year, in between the holes. He's busy, I'm busy, but at least we're actually moving forward with it for the first time in 12 years or whatever.
Better late than never.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. So if you had to sum up the record, Incorruptible, in a sentence, what would you say?
In a sentence, I would say that Incorruptible defines everything ICED stands for.
Everything. Like the journey of ICED till date.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Jon, thank you so much for spending some time. Good luck with the release. Just got another month and a half left.
Okay, I will, man. Take care.
All right, buddy. Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.